The purpose of this podcast is to focus on recovery from life situations, be it a disease, chronic or acute, perhaps the loss of someone so dear to you in death, or a change of life patterns that has affected you so profoundly that you have no choice but to find your new normal and become focused on moving forward. Each episode is designed to show the positivity that people bring to each and every one of their stories, the successes they've had, ways that they have become so definitively focused on moving forward. We look forward to sharing their stories, and we hope that they inspire you just as much as they have inspired us. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Focused on Forward, our Friday night live edition. I'm really excited tonight because I've got a cool guest in the virtual green room. Now, the thing that makes Eric Harazi cool in my eyes is that not just that he's overcome several things in life, but and it's not even that I'm a what have you done for me lately person, but it's very much of what has he done lately. And he's got a really cool, some of the things that he's doing, why he's doing them. And I can't wait to bring him on. And we're going to have a really cool discussion. And I think you guys will really enjoy it. If you have questions for Eric, please make sure to post them into the comments. We'll get them in front of Eric and see if there are things that he can answer. If you have questions for me, put them in the comments. However, as you're doing that, please make sure if you're doing this from Facebook that you allow StreamYard access. Otherwise, when you put your comments in or your questions in, it shows up as just Facebook user. See, Fred Carroll here was a very good example of making sure that he gave StreamYard access to his user information because I knew it was Fred, not Facebook user. Hello, Fred. So before we bring Eric on, let's quickly have a video from our sponsor, Vital Signs and Graphics. Since 1982, Vital Signs and Graphics has been helping professionals with all their image, logo, and design needs. Perhaps you're looking for signs and banners, truck and trailer lettering, business cards, brochures, or other image and marketing aids. Vital Signs and Graphics in-house design studio has you covered. From logos to apparel, start to finish, Vital Signs and Graphics has everything you need to look and feel professional. Call Rick at 231-652-3300. He'll get you noticed. All right, once again, that's Vital Signs and Graphics out of Newaygo, Michigan. And the phone number there is 231-652-3300. Talk to Rick. Tell him that Focused on Forward sent you. All right, guys. It's my pleasure to bring out of the virtual green room and out for you guys to be able to listen to Eric Harazi. Welcome, Eric.
Hi. There were so many snacks in that green room. It was lovely.
Well, then you have a much better green room than I prepared. So awesome. Well, hey, I want to say thank you for being on tonight. We have a lot to unpack here in the next few minutes about your life, what you've gone through, what you've been through, and really how you've become focused on forward. I'm excited to hear your story. So,
well, let's start at the beginning. So,
sure, go for it.
So, about 11 years ago, I'm 43 years old now. When I was 30 years old, I was my background is in theater. I was a stage manager professionally in theater, and I was doing summer stock in Massachusetts. And I'm a gay male, and I was going to meet a guy to, just do some stuff. And I went over to.
You were saying hello. I can understand. Yeah.
We were going to play chess or something. I don't know.
But of course.
But of course.
As you do.
As gay men do, we play chess. And so I went over there, and we were going to do stuff, and he had some drugs out, and I never did drugs before. I wasn't a drug person. I wasn't a drinker at all. I maybe got drunk twice in my life.
Okay.
And he had meth out, and I was like, let me try it. I might as well. I never did it before, and I smoked some meth, and I got very high. He got me very high, and he then proceeded to tie me up and shoot me up with meth.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it escalated very quickly, very quickly. And he proceeded to sexual assault me. He raped me. He had friends waiting for me after he raped me, and they took me to their house. And I was kept in the basement for 8 hours and was raped throughout the 8 hours with other by other people. Sorry if this is too graphic.
No, you're fine.
Once, if you don't know drugs, which I didn't, because that was not my world at all.
Sure.
It became my world, but it was not my world. When you have IV drugs in your system, you become an instant drug addict right away. It's a much different creature than doing drugs normally.
Okay.
And when I left there, I was so confused. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because I was in a different world. It was enjoyable, and I didn't realize that it was a sexual assault at all. I didn't realize it was rape. I was raped. I didn't realize any of this, and I needed my next fix too. On top of that, because I love the whole experience. I enjoyed, and that whole life became a life for me throughout the next 10 years.
Okay.
I became a drug addict. I had multiple sexual assaults after that. Throughout the years, a lot of people don't know how deep into my sexual assaults I was traded for drugs. People sold tickets for sex for me. It was very intense, my sexual assaults. I was in about 8 treatment centers to work on myself. Until I went to my first treatment center, my first real treatment center, let me specify that, that dealt with trauma. That's when I realized it was a rape. And everything, and I found out that everything was premeditated on that first time.
Okay.
And I was like, what? I was so shocked. I was shocked.
That had to be a heavy realization for you of what had happened. And
it was. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And then thinking back to it, I was like, oh, everything was planned out. Mm-hmm. The whole thing was planned out. No one really liked me. That was the first thing that came to my mind. That no one liked me in that whole situation. It wasn't that they raped me or that they used me. It was that no one liked me. That was how little self-worth that I had.
Okay.
That was my first thought, that no one liked me. And so I had to really do some deep therapy. We realized through these treatment centers that in a 10 to 11 year span, I was probably raped almost 50 times.
Oh my gosh.
Some consensual, some not. I mean, when I was using, because my trauma and my drug use was always hand in hand, because I had trauma repetition. I had to keep repeating this trauma over and over. So I had to. I never really used without having my trauma next to it. I never used separately. So so I would get high, but after I would get high, I had no control of what happened. So we had an idea that it was probably about 50 times that I was sexually assaulted in this time. It could have been more. It really could have been more. I really don't know. But I remember a lot of it. I like when you drink, you black out.
Right.
When you use heroin, you nod out. When you're on meth, you're wide awake. and I really remember all of it. So it plays in my head constantly. So I call them my movies. So I have to live with this constantly throughout my life. So I went into these treatment centers and I worked on all these traumas. I would do all these I would write all these letters and do all these projects, and I was still relapsing. I felt like I wasn't getting fixed. I was still this broken person.
Okay.
And I couldn't understand why I was still this broken person. And I was still not happy. I was still this empty shell. And so I kept going back to these treatment centers, and I had to keep working on myself. I had to keep digging and digging. They always say trauma is like a tissue box. You pull out one, another thing's there. There's
another
another
one pops up. Yeah.
There's another thing there, and that's what kept happening. And I kept working on this trauma and another trauma, and I had to keep digging and digging and digging of where everything was coming from. And I so many things happened from this one instance. Like I became HIV positive from it. I had 2 suicide attempts from it.
Okay.
I had 2 nervous breakdowns from this. I had, and I mean, not just from that one thing, but from everything.
Right.
After that, from
everything after. Yeah.
Everything after that. And people kept saying, "Oh, you're so brave. You're so brave from doing." I'm not brave. I'm not brave. I was trying to survive. I was trying to live, and I was trying to survive. That's right. That's how I was getting through. I was using because I didn't want to live in my head anymore. I didn't want to. Because I kept remembering everything.
Sure.
I didn't want to stay in this reality that was my life. That's why I was using. And so I worked on this trauma, and I had some amazing therapists. And they would tell me to get out of my way. Like I was distracting myself from working on myself, and I had to get out of my way. And I sometimes I would just stand there and not get out of my way, and sometimes I would really just get out of my way. Mm-hmm. And so I finally worked on all my major traumas, and I was still relapsing. And I was like, what is going on? Like, why am I still relapsing? And now I was relapsing without my traumas. And it wasn't as fun anymore. It sucked.
Okay.
Because now I was just because it was always sex. It was always sex and drugs, and now it was just drugs. Like I wasn't even having sex anymore.
Right.
So
you're taking away half of the equation for yourself.
I was taking half. So now I'm like, well, this sucks. So now I was just miserable. I was miserable. I was forever crying. I just wanted it. I just wanted my life to end. I really did. I'll tear up because I just wanted my life to end. I wanted everything to be over.
Okay.
Because I couldn't look at myself anymore. I was lonely. I'll never forget this one. This will always stay in my mind forever. I was in a motel room once, and I stayed in this motel room for about a week, and I didn't eat for a week. I was using for a week, and I was so paranoid, and I was hallucinating, and I thought the cops were after me. They could have been. I still don't know. I never know. And I heard voices of people I knew who I thought were protecting me from the cops. I know this is going to sound crazy, but this is the life of a drug addict.
Okay.
Of a drug addict, and I kept saying, let me just take a shower. Like, I kept saying this out loud just so everyone can hear me. The cops, my friends, everyone. Let me just take a shower so I look presentable for everyone. Because I wanted to look presentable for everyone. Because that's that's the
that was the utmost important thing at the moment.
Don't worry about the track marks on my arm.
Right.
But I just want to smell good for everyone. So, and and I was like, let me just take a shower. And then you can all come in and come and get me. And I wanted them to come and get me because I wanted this nightmare to be over.
Okay.
I wanted them to come and save me. And I didn't care how it was. You can arrest me. I wanted them to come and save me. And I got out of the shower. I was in my towel. And I said, you can come and get me now. I'm ready. Like, I mean, I was about to go to treatment. I was all ready to go to treatment. I think I called the treatment the day before. And I said this out loud. I said, just to let you know, I'm going to treatment. I wanted to let them know I'm going to treatment, guys. And I said, but you can still take me. And so I said, everyone can come in. I'm ready for everyone to take me. And I sat there on my bed in my towel, and no one came. And I said, So I opened the door to the motel room. I peeked out, and no one was there. And I closed the door, and I just cried. And I said, no one's ever there. No one's there. Why isn't anyone ever there for me? And I laid on my bed, and I laid in fetal position, and I just cried, saying, I just wish someone would be there to help me. And this is real life. This is real life. People think that addicts want to be where they are. They don't. They don't want this. They just want people to. It was so lonely. And yes, there are people that I could have called. I could have probably called my family. My family has always been so supportive. I've had friends who are supportive, but at that moment, we just feel so alone. So alone. And like, I imagined people there. I imagined people that I knew there.
Right.
And I probably could have called those people. But it's so hard to reach out because we have so much shame. So much. Like, I couldn't tell them, oh, I messed up again. Oh, I'm in a motel and I have track marks. I couldn't tell them this. It would have been easier if they just found me. It would have been easier for that. And so no one was there. I think the next day I went into a treatment center on my own. But that moment will never leave me, because that was a moment that I knew, that was a moment that I felt so alone again.
Mm-hmm.
There were many moments I felt so alone, even though I knew there were people there. But there's so many moments I felt so alone, and that was a bottom. That was a bottom moment for me. And people are like, What's your bottom? What was your bottom?" I never had one bottom. You know, I never had one bottom. I had many bottoms. I had and
Right.
I've had many good moments too. I've had
Mm-hmm.
many sober moments. I had many moments with my sexual assault that I triumphed on, you know, and but I needed all those moments to get to where I am. Some people
Right.
just some people just have one bottom, one and done, and then they're good.
Yeah.
For for me personally, I had to have all those moments.
I heard it said by someone else who was fighting addiction that they called it the a series of peaks and valleys. They said that they went from their highs where everything was great. They had the highest of highs and they had the lowest of lows. And but they had to have several of those before it came time where they could find a point for them to be able to say, okay, stop the train. I would like to get off this now. I need to do something different with my life. So, and I think I heard it said by one uh, that they were jealous of the ones who had the one and done because they 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 got in, they got out, they were able to move forward.
I used to be. I used
Okay.
I used to be when I used to go to the rooms. I don't really do the rooms for me. That for many people it works. For me, that wasn't my thing. I tried it. My recovery is therapy, is keeping my feet moving and other things, keeping connected with sober people.
Okay.
That's my recovery. When I used to be in the rooms and I kept relapsing and relapsing and relapsing, and I kept hearing stories of these one and dones, it bothered me, and I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it.
What about it bothered you
I
specifically?
thought I was broken.
Okay.
I thought I was broken, that I couldn't do it. I was doing something wrong.
Okay. That makes sense. I get that. Okay.
And so I kept seeing all these people succeed. And I kept saying, what is wrong with me that I can't get this? And that's my own stuff. That has nothing to do with them. That was my own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to figure that out for myself. And that's where I had to do my work. And I had to see why I couldn't get it.
Right. Okay.
And for me, it was that wasn't where I needed to get it. And I needed to get it someplace else.
Okay.
And I had I had a couple therapists I had one therapist who said to me, she goes, why are you scared of going over that fence? You're just teetering that fence.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, because what if I go over that fence and it's the same shit over there that's over here? And I everything I'm doing, all this work I'm doing is for nothing.
Right.
And why would I want to go over there then? And she turned to me, she goes, but what if it's not? What if it's not? And so she goes, so let's do a little exercise. I was like, oh, you're one of those therapists. And so I'm like, okay, let's do an exercise. Fine.
Fine.
Fine. So she's like, close your eyes. And so I closed my eyes, and she goes, we're not going to go over the fence. We're just going to peek over the fence. This is your fence. We're just going to peek over it. What do you see? And I said, I see green grass. And this is all legit. And I said, I see just green grass, nothing else. And she goes, that is amazing. And I said, okay.
Sure. Okay, great.
Great. What does that mean? Thank you. And she goes, Well, when some people on the other side of their fence, they see like a building, or they see a house, or they see like a tree. You see nothing but green grass. That is, you can build whatever you want over there. Sky's the limit for you. You have nothing obstructing you there.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
She goes, you have nothing there. You have just land, beautiful green grass, nothing. She goes, she goes, you can go running in there, and as far as you want, and you have everything that you want there. And I was like, wow. And so I had to make that choice to finally go over that fence.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had to do it at my own time. But I knew what was over there. I finally knew what was over there.
Yeah, I think sometimes when we're dealing with traumas, one of my former guests, I think, put it perfectly. Terry Kozlowski talked about, because she was also an assault survivor. And all the years of playing, as she put it, playing the victim in her own mind of what she had been through and what she had gone through. When she went through to try to relieve herself of the trauma, she said that was the scary part, because she was used to it. She become comfortable with it. She called it the thorny blanket. It was uncomfortable, but she kept it because that's what she knew.
Well, for the longest time, I used to say that I was addicted to drugs. I wasn't addicted to drugs. I was addicted to my trauma.
Okay.
That's what I was addicted to. I was addicted to my trauma. The drugs just came along with it.
Okay, so the drugs are just part of the experience that you're going through.
That was part of my trauma.
Okay.
I was addicted to the trauma because I had to have the trauma first. The drugs came with it.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't have the one without the other.
Right.
And then once I removed the trauma, then I became addicted to the drugs.
Okay. So what was the point where you decided that I need to move forward now? You said you had kind of gotten to that point. I think when you
I overdosed.
Oh, did you? Okay.
And to overdose on meth, you have to have a superpower to do that. That's hard. That's like, you have to, that's super hard. Like, I mean, that's really hard to overdose on meth. I mean,
okay.
So I overdosed on meth. I was at a lot of my stories. I was at a motel, and I was in a parking lot, and I couldn't see I started going blind in my eye, and
okay.
I fell, and I screamed. I'm laughing now, but I shouldn't be laughing. But I screamed, "Get an M!" Yeah, and I woke up with a cop going, "Are you okay?" And I was like, I think so. and then I went. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. Don't do drugs, kids. And hey,
you know what? It's your story. If you want to laugh at it, brother, you laugh at it.
Because it was really hard.
Because that's what gets you through. That's
and I'm gonna scare some of you guys. I went poopy in my pants, and I was in the ambulance, and I turned to the guy. I turned to EMT, and I went, "Hey, I have a bag of meth in my wallet. Take it out before they take me."
Oh boy.
And he said, "I got you." And he took my bag of meth. and I haven't had a bag of meth since.
All right. Well, that would do it right there. Okay, so what was the next step for you after deciding that, after the OD, after deciding that I don't want to OD and I don't want to go poopy in my pants anymore? Well, what was the next step for Eric?
Well, I mean, I was working on a nonprofit before that.
Okay.
And, that went on hold because I relapsed in between that and that. It was a little relapse, but so, and then the pandemic happened, nothing happened. So I just worked on that side. I worked on my nonprofit silently because I really couldn't do anything.
Sure.
So we recently relaunched my nonprofit a couple months ago, and
Okay,
that's what I've been working on is my nonprofit.
well, let's talk about it.
Great. So my nonprofit is called Coherently Aware Now. What we do is we secure funds. That scared me.
Sorry about that.
Did you see me jump a little bit?
Actually, I did not. I was in the middle of changing screen so I could see it. So I'll see it in replay.
That was funny. What we do is we secure funds to help sexual assault survivors, people with addictions and dual diagnosis. We get them into a treatment center. We become their advocates while they're in treatment, and then we help them with an exit plan with a caseworker to, like, if they need to get into a halfway house, or if they need a therapist or an outpatient program. What I've noticed in my travels, in my journey, is lack of advocacy, lack of funding in treatment centers.
Okay.
I've been in, like I said, 8 treatment centers. I've had insurance. I haven't had insurance. I've been kicked out because insurance decided not to pay for treatment, and this is needed. We are in desperate need of funding right now. We are we'll always be in desperate need of funding, but we are not functioning just yet. We are trying to get funding to become a functional nonprofit. Advocacy is so hard right now in treatment centers. To regulate a treatment center is not even, doesn't even really happen. When I was in a treatment center, a very good treatment center in Arizona, I won't say their name, but some people might know them. I was attacked by staff there, and I was everything they did while I was there was wrong. And as I was leaving, a charge nurse came and spit on me, and as I was leaving, and almost hit me.
Oh, nice.
It was lovely, and I couldn't really do anything, because when you're an addict, when you have mental health issues, or when you suffer from sexual assault, people tend to not believe what you have to say.
Sure.
So it's very hard to go after a big treatment center. So as an advocate for someone, or with someone, we like to say with someone, because we don't want to speak for them. We want to speak with them, because
I like that. That makes sense.
Yes, because eventually they'll have to use their own voice at some point, and we don't want to speak for them. So we want to make sure that they feel safe in their treatment center. They are getting the correct therapy in the treatment center, that the food is good in the treatment center, that they just feel comfortable there. And if not, that we know that they have the right to, they know their rights, that they can be moved to another treatment center, that they don't have to stay there. A lot of treatment centers will make it that you have to stay there, and they don't have to stay anywhere. They are free to leave whenever they want, and they're not told that. So people will stay in a treatment center, and they're told that so treatment centers can get money.
Oh, okay.
And it's really it's sad.
That's a shame.
It's sad. So people are going and getting horrible treatment and bad therapy for their own pockets. So we want to make sure that, and I've said this before, humans, we want to show people that humans are not throwaways, that lives are worth saving, and lives are worth showing love to.
Absolutely.
No matter where you're from, no matter what area you're from, how much money you have, lives are not throwaways.
Absolutely. Okay. One of the things I noticed on the website here, and let me actually, you know what? Let me bring this back up onto the screen. I'll announce it this time.
Thanks.
So it doesn't alarm you. But so I was looking at this earlier. I was kind of going over the website this afternoon in preparation for tonight. And I wanted you to be able to speak a little bit more about your signature program, the Safe Circle, what it is and how it affects those who are in treatment.
Meaning, okay, so the actual program that we do?
Yeah, it says right here, we're under the section says what we do. Our signature program is the Safe Circle. So can we talk about that a little bit as to what it is and how it affects?
So our program, wait, I'm just reading what you sorry, I haven't looked at that for a little bit. Yeah, so it's pretty much what I just said. So
okay.
So that's pretty much what I just said is that what we do is that we will find you a treatment, we'll become your advocates while you're in treatment, and then we'll help you with an exit plan. So that's pretty much what our program does.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that that's what it was.
Yeah.
I kind of thought so, but
yeah.
I was like, I think he just talked about this, but I'm going to ask anyway, just to be on the safe side, just to make sure that I was understanding it, so that if I,
So now if we look below that, so it does take about $30,000 for one person to be in treatment for 30 days. So if you go lower.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
keep going.
Oh no, go up.
Go up. I'm finding it.
It was right below that.
Oh, right here. Yes. For a client to start in a treatment center, the average cost is about $30,000.
$30,000 for 1 month. Now let's say someone who has trauma gets in there. So they get in there. The first week they're just getting comfortable. The second week they're learning. They're meeting their therapist. So they're starting to feel them out. Maybe getting a little bit safe with them. They're gonna crack open their egg. The yolk is coming down. A little bit of trauma is coming out.
Sure.
Every 2 weeks, your insurance company figures out if they're going to keep covering you every 2 weeks. So your insurance company can say, we have decided that we're not going to cover you. So now if your insurance company says, listen, we decided we're not going to cover you anymore, they can say your insurance company has denied you for another 30 days or another 19 days, another 17 days, unless you have $15,000, $17,000, you can't stay here. So, so now you have someone who just started trauma work, is newly sober, might have an eating disorder, might have self-harm issues, may not have any family, may not have any place to go, is now being kicked out to someplace else.
Yeah, they're just throwing them out the door.
Just throwing them out. Some of them their case worker might not. I mean, some people do have hearts and they don't want to, but they have to because they're all about the money. They can't keep them there if they can't keep them there. So what we do is, hopefully this treatment center will call us and say, listen, we have this case here that they need to stay here. They have to stay here. They need trauma work. They have to stay here. Can you help us cover the cost? And that's where we'll step in and say, we can help you. Or there's a family member, a person who is not in treatment yet, and they say, listen, our family member or myself, we need to get into a treatment. Can you help us pay for that treatment? Because we have no insurance or no money.
Okay.
Scholarships are very hard to get through treatment centers. It's like a lottery. It's very hard to get. So there's really no funding out there. There's no funding, and this nonprofit can really save lives. It could really save lives. I mean, we can really help people by paying to help pay for people to get into treatment.
No, I think that's a beautiful thing. Now, one of the other things I noticed and we'll go back to the website here for a second. I'll pull it back up on the screen. For everyone to be able to donate and join the circle. So can you tell them what the Travelers program is and what that does?
So the Travelers Program, we're actually, that was supposed to be taken off the website. um,
All right, guys, you did not see the Travelers Program. That is not on there.
That's actually supposed to be taken off. We're not doing that.
Okay.
Sorry about
All right.
that.
So that's okay. Let's speak. Well, let's speak then to the ease of donation and how people can help.
But what we are doing on our website, if you do donate $100 or more, we will put your name on our website or your business on our website as a sponsor.
Okay. All right. But they can donate any amount that they want to.
Any amount you can donate, and you can go to the top right corner and click our donate button, and that'll bring you right to donating. So
I think and I believe that's through PayPal, isn't it?
Correct. It's through PayPal. Everything is tax deductible.
Perfect. Okay. So as you can see here, guys, the website Coherently Aware Now, you can find it at thesafecircle.org. You can go here. You can find out a lot of information about what Eric and his group are doing. How, if you want to get involved, there are ways that you can get involved and the things that you can do. As well, as you see here, there's giving options, there's different events, there's ways for you to stay connected with this group. And I would love it if you have, and I always tell people, they're worried about being able to donate $100 or more. If you have $5, donate it. If you have $1, donate it. Because here's the thing. I donate $1. You donate $1. The other person donates $1. Those dollars all add up, and they're going to help in more quickly than what you can give it credit for. So if you have availability, please donate. Please help. Yeah. This is a tremendous opportunity to help our fellow man. And right now, after the last couple years of what everybody's gone through in 2021 and 2020 with the pandemic, and drug use is on the rise, significantly on the rise. The need for treatment and treatment centers is also significantly higher as well.
And we're also right now we've added helping domestic violence.
Wonderful.
People who have been in the pandemic with their domestic violence. I'm sorry, I'm trying to word it. People who have been stuck in domestic violence houses during the pandemic. And need help with therapists. So we're also adding that to our website also.
Fantastic. No, I think that's a great plan. Okay. So Eric, I have a couple questions that I want to ask you that I ask every single guest who's ever been in the hot seat that you're sitting in.
Yes, I am single. I like long
No, those were not the questions. But for anyone who's listening, Eric is a single man, and he likes long walks on the beach. So I'm guessing beaches. You didn't say beach, but
I actually don't like the beach because of the sand. I don't like the beach.
All right, well then I got nothing for you. Okay, all right. So, so these are two questions. Neither one of them are very difficult. They're both based upon your life experiences. Okay.
Okay.
Looking back over the entirety of your journey, what is the single greatest lesson that you have learned?
Wow. Single greatest lesson. What's the second question? Can we do that? Okay.
Sure.
Let me think about that. Hold on.
Okay. Looking back over the entirety of your journey, what's the single greatest piece of advice that you've been given?
You're killing me. Greatest piece of advice. If you don't know something, just say, I don't know.
Okay.
I think that's the best piece of advice I've ever gotten. Just if you don't know something, just say I don't know it, and learn, and then learn, and then learn it.
No, I think that's very good advice.
Don't make it up and act like you know it. Just say I don't know, and then learn it.
All right.
And then what was the first question again?
The first question: what was the single greatest lesson that you have learned?
God. You know, I don't know if this is a lesson. I don't think it's a
Okay.
lesson. I don't think it's a lesson. Can I say what I've learned about myself?
Absolutely. I think
Okay.
it's still a lesson, but sure, go ahead.
Okay. You know, for the longest time, I always saw myself as an empty shell, and I had to always grab my essence. I knew I had an essence, and I always had to grab my essence and use and pull it into whenever I needed it to use it. And it took a long time to find a home for my essence in my body. And when I finally found where to put that essence in my body, that's when I became very mindful of who I was as a person, as a human.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the next level of who I was meant to be as a person. And that's when I became whole, and that's when I started knowing my worth as a human. And that's when everything started coming together. And that's what I've learned about myself on this journey. Was it was never I was always disconnected from myself. And once I learned how to put myself together, that was the next level of who I was.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That's a lesson.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a huge lesson.
Okay. I guess.
You know, honestly, with as many people as I've had the absolute pleasure and honor to have spoken with on this show, one of the things that a lot of people who have gone through different levels, differing types of trauma, especially when it's a physical, mental, or sexual abuse, one of the things that people have had to learn is their value, their self-worth, and being able to accept themselves for who and what they are, and their imperfections, and how their imperfections are the things about them that are beautiful and make them whole and attractive to other people. And so I think the fact that if that's what you learned out of this was your value, your beauty, I think that's a fantastic lesson.
Don't get me. I mean, yeah, of course. Thank you. I appreciate that. But don't get me wrong. I have my days. I have my days when like that inner critic just like engulfs me. But I've learned I've learned how to talk myself off the ledge.
Yeah, I don't think you're ever going to be able to shut that off completely. It's just
100%. But I've learned how to let my essence take over and not devour myself with the inner critic. And I think that's the lesson I've learned through this whole journey of how to deal with that. That's the lesson I've learned.
I think that's great. I do. You know, I mean, honestly, if you think about it, I mean, you're going to have, like you said, there's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days. You're going to have days when you're still going to you're going to pummel yourself from the inside out and tell yourself how, you know, all these awful, horrible things about yourself that aren't true.
Yeah.
But that's because that's what our imperfect little brains try to tell us, that's what we are and how we are, because that's what life has conditioned us to think. And, you know, I remember talking to my therapist about some of these things, and I'm like, yeah, I don't care what you tell me. This is how I feel.
I've had those conversations.
Yeah, you know.
I'm like, I'm paying you this much money to say that to me. Agree with me.
You are not allowed to disagree.
Agree
not for
with
this much money. Yeah, if it wasn't for insurance, holy cow. All right. So Eric, again, so what I want you to do here, if you don't mind, take a moment, tell everybody where they can find out more information about Eric Harazi and Coherently Aware Now.
So you can go to www.thesafecircle.org. You can also go to my TikTok, Go Unstuck Yourself. I do some inspirational stuff on there, activism stuff on there. And then you can also go to our Facebook, Coherently Aware Now. We also have an Instagram page, Coherently underscore aware underscore now. And I tried Twitter. I didn't understand it. So you don't have to go there.
No, I think that's fine. I think Facebook and Instagram will get the message across, plus the website. That's enough.
If you understand Twitter, I don't get it, but
Twitter is an acquired taste. It takes a little while to get used to. Trust me on that one. So, all right, excellent. Well, Eric, I want to say again, thank you for being on Focused on Forward.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been my pleasure. I am honored that you were willing to share your story and willing to bare your soul for our listeners so that they could hear your experience, and not only just that you went through these things, but that you got through them. Because I think that there will be people who are going to listen to your story who clearly won't have had all the same things happen to them that have happened to you. But I always look for similarities in stories, and that we may not have gone down the same lanes, but there's similarities to the lanes where I can say I can cherry pick from this person's story, and I can cherry pick from that person's story, and I can find things out of each and every person's story that can affect me and help me in different ways. So,
well, thank you so much for having me. Really, this is a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having a platform where people can talk, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. And remember, guys, if you're interested in finding out more about the safecircle.org, there is a link to it in the information down below. And I'm also putting a link to it here in the comment section. So you'll be able to click on it there and go there. Like I said, just give $1, give $5, give $10. If everybody does that, it adds up so quickly. And honestly, you've spent $10 on stupider things. So, instead of spending $10 on sodas and scratch off tickets, give $10 to somebody who can help and who can help people getting through their stuff. Okay. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you everyone for listening tonight. And thank you for those who participated earlier. And Eric, again, thank you for being on Focused on Forward.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Well, that concludes another episode of Focused on Forward. To be a guest of Focused on Forward, you can reach us through Twitter at podcastfof, through our Facebook page named Focused on Forward, or through email focusedonforward@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing each and every one of your stories that has yet to be told. So until then, be safe, be kind, and be loving to one another.